is 12 o'clock Eastern, or it is top of the hour wherever in the world you are at the moment. And welcome. I'm super, super excited to be working with you guys. My name is JD. I know some of you, and some of you I don't. Just a little background. I've been in the balloon industry for over 25 years. I've done decor. I'm mostly a twister. So I get the balloon world, and I'm a twister. So there you go. My confession's out. I have done, this will be float number 11. And I have done 10 of the 11 floats that Steve has done. And so I've been doing this for a minute. My job has changed over times. This year, and the last couple years, my job at Float is to ensure that you as teachers have everything that you need so we can work together as a team to deliver an amazing experience for each and every attendee of Float. So with that, I'm going to drop my name, phone number into the chat. I also have WhatsApp. So if you're out of the country and it doesn't work for you to call, you can feel free to reach me on WhatsApp as well. If you're in the country, I'm much more reliably to be connected with at phone or text. So there you go. I have some important dates. For those of you that are not driving, you might want to write these down. First date is November 3rd. November 3rd is the date that all of your notes are going to be due. And I'll get that back to that in a second. The second date is November 14th. November 14th is the date that your supply list is due. Third date to write down is January 25th. So the January 25th is actually at Float. It's at 12:30, and that will be the faculty meeting and lunch. And the reason why I mentioned that is because it seems like every Float, I'm running around trying to get all the faculty together to get them to the faculty lunch. So I just let you know right up front, put in your calendars, January 25th, 12:30, and we're going to provide you lunch as staff.
Hey, JD, right. Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
With regard to the class notes, there's actually 2 dates.
Okay.
So the general class and the foundation class notes are due on November 3rd. The master class and the bonus class notes are due on December 1st.
Thank you for that clarification. Travel, if you're a foundational or general class instructor at Float, you need to get together with your sponsor. They'll be doing your travel expenses in your hotel. Master class instructors, you will be connecting with Stephen Jones, and he will be taking care of your, he'll be taking care of you there. If you're a bonus instructor, you're responsible for your travel and accommodations. The meals, we're going to be providing 2 meals during the convention: lunch on Sunday, which we talked about, or lunch on Sunday, January 25th, as part of the faculty meeting, and then Wednesday, the 28th, at the awards gala. If you're not formally registered for Float, we need to do that really fast. Your registration is how we know, is how we create all of your welcome stuff, all of your name badges, everything. So if you haven't registered, we need to get that done quickly. Steve, is there anything special they need to do if they haven't registered yet?
Those of you that are not formally registered, I'll secure you a coupon code, and then you'll go to the Float website. You'll select the $7.95 price point. If you're international, you don't choose the international one. You just choose the $7.95, and then you'll enter the coupon code, and that'll negate the price, because we have to get all your paperwork in. We got to get your documentation. We got to get your your if you have any dietary issues, that kind of stuff. So
if they haven't registered yet, do you want them to contact you, or do you want them to wait for an email?
No, I'll take care of it, because some people, I'll address it. I'll take care of it.
Perfect.
What's the coupon code?
Say it again.
He said there was a coupon code that would take away the international.
He'll get it to you.
Code?
You'll get it too.
Everybody's going to have a different code because
So
sadly in the past people have shared the code. They've given it to people who weren't supposed to get the code. For example, you'll find yourself with a teacher who says, "Oh, well, I'm going to bring 2 assistants with me." And so then suddenly there's 3 people signed up with the coupon code when there was only supposed to be 1. And then you're in a very uncomfortable position with the sponsor and you're in an uncomfortable position with the teacher and everything else. So everybody will have their own individual code.
all right. Shipping items to the resort. Every time an item gets shipped to the resort, it goes to the business office. So even if you ship it to you and like to your personal room, when you pick it up, there's going to be an extra charge for them handling it. Float is not going to cover any of the charges. So if you have anything shipped from you whatsoever, make sure that you get together with your sponsor because they're to pay for it, and we'll give your sponsor the bill. And it could be anywhere from $5 to several $100, and that includes Amazon. There is a Walmart superstore across the street, so you can have stuff ordered and sent there if you pick it up there if you want to get stuff like that. Supplies. So I'm also responsible for making sure that you have the needed supplies that you will be needing at float. You are more than welcome to bring your own tools and supplies if you want. If there's anything that's you're using some weird thing that you got off of Temu, you're welcome to bring that. But as far as like framing stuff, things like that, we'll have those, as well as we'll have inflators that you can use. You'll have to check them out from the ILW room, and we'll get them back to you. Now, I've got a form that you're going to be getting, and that's not it. Hold on. Oh, and that's not centered. Let me open that up. All right, so this is a Google form that you're going to be getting, and it's basically going to have your email, your name, shirt size. If you want a woman's cut, check here and then put the size shirt if you want woman's cut. There's some limitations for us on a Google sheet, so I made it a way that we can all communicate. It's important that we know what kind of device you're going to be sharing your slides from, because every device has a different way it's going to have to connect to the projector. So let us know what you're going to be using here. An iPad is different from the Mac. It's different if you have a HDMI, if you have a display port for your computers. And then this will be for your supplies. And basically, you check the box. If it's more than 5, you put how many you need. It's pretty self-explanatory. At the end of the sheet, for those of you that are teaching more than one class, you can hit edit your response if you need to, or submit another response. So the request is that if you're doing 2 classes, do 2 sheets, and that'll help us track everything better. So you'll be getting that form email as soon as there's a couple things I gotta trim up on it, and you'll be getting that form within a week. While you're at the Grand Sierra Resort, you're flying into Reno, there is a shuttle that goes from 4 a.m. to 12:15 a.m. every day. You catch a shuttle, it's no charge. If you decide to take an Uber or Lyft, you're responsible for the charge. And this goes over, there's the where the luncheon's going to be. And honestly, I can tell you where it's going to be, but I don't think anybody's going to remember by the time float comes. So we'll be there to remind you when float comes, but we have the date saved in the calendar. The opening night, we're going to get there at 6:45, and the theme is going to be a cosmic outer space theme. So opening night, you either can wear your polo that you'll be getting for float, or there'll be like an outer space theme. You can, if you have an outer space costume you want to wear, that's perfectly fine. We're going to let the people in. We're going to greet them. And then after we're done greeting them, we're going to go out in the hallway while Mia Sano
plays or concert, and we're going to continue greeting people in the hallway. And then once that's done, we'll have reserved seating. You'll go back to reserved seats, and we'll start opening night. Let's see, classrooms. All right, this is what we're all here for. Your classrooms we're going to start opening the classroom at 6:30 each morning. And by the way, the schedule, we've gone painstakingly over the schedule to make sure that classes are in conflict with each other, that instructors there's not a lot of conflicts, that room works out. There's a lot of stuff that goes into creating the schedule, and the schedule is set the way it's set. And so you can't change the schedule. If you have a morning class, we're going to be there open at 6:30 is our goal, so you can get up and prep what you need to. All classes are to be their own class, not to do a part 1 and part 2, but the same content created in each session as the session before. This year, we're going to have a full 60-minute break in between class sessions in order for instructors to better answer questions, refresh themselves, do whatever you need to do. Last year was 30 minutes. The last float was 30 minutes, and it's just not enough time. So we're going to give everybody an hour in between classes. No holding seats in your classrooms for students. If you have anyone having a classroom assistant, you just need to just let me know. And I'll add it to the roster for the room. They have to be people that are registered for float. So nobody that's a kid or hey, this is my husband, or everybody that's in the classroom has to be a float participant. Each class is going to have a wireless microphone, a speakers, a video projector screen, and a live camera operator who will be projecting your image onto the screen. It's our intention to have an AV switch available, so if you can switch back and forth between the live camera coverage and your slideshow presentation. That's applicable. This is great because it takes care of people that have hearing issues and visual issues. It'll be up on the big screen, so they'll be able to see, and everybody will be able to hear. And we think this is going to really help out a lot. Also, the classes are going to be recorded. Should a loft choose to use your class as part of the program, you're going to get paid a $350 bonus if it's used. So there you go. While teaching, if your sponsor prefers that you wear the branding, please consider this the priority when it comes to your attire. If they not offer you branding to wear, we'd prefer that you wear a float polo while instructing. The classes of float is to be treated as an intermediate to advanced level content. That's what we're known for. And your classes need to be, unless you're a foundation class, your class needs to be intermediate to advanced. If you have somebody come in the class that is obviously new, do not take time out to address the questions.
Can I ask a quick question about that?
Sure.
I'm doing the Organic Essentials class. Is that classed as a beginner's, a foundational?
Steve?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the foundational program is absolutely beginner level content.
Yep, that's okay. It just says Organic Essentials, so I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, that's the only, the foundation classes are the only ones that float that are allowed to be beginner level.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
And I'll read this word for word because obviously Steve wrote this as his own verbiage. I cannot stress this enough. The biggest and loudest complaints we get about instructors are when they bring their classes to a standstill in order to address a question that's clearly a beginner level. So be kind. Let them know you can address it after the class. It's okay, but we can't take the time in the middle of class to go over basics. Also, no inflating balloons during the class. You should have all your balloons already prepped, already done. If you have to blow up one or two, as an example, that's not a problem. but people that want to spend you half your class watching you inflate balloons. Let's see. These are to be taught as a lecture and demonstrations. General classes afloat are to be taught as lecture and demonstration style classes only. Do not plan on incorporating your students in hands-on during your class sessions. You could have as many as 200 people in your room, and honestly, it just doesn't work if you have that many people in your room to do a hands-on class. Let's see. We cannot put any tape on the walls. I don't teach applications to put tape on the walls. This includes the H-tape method or any other adhesive. This means command strips, anything. Float is not going to assume any damage liability if you damage the walls in the hotel. I mean, if you have to teach something and you bring your own piece of plywood and want to attach it to that, fine. But don't be attaching anything to the walls that float. You're welcome to use magnets as rigging systems. However, the hotel AV team is it's against their policy for us to touch a ceiling. If they find us touching a ceiling, we'll get fined. That's just part of their contract. Please act professionally and avoid using strong suggestive language while teaching. Also, any discussions pertaining to politics, various social ideologies, religion, global effects, and the like have no business in the classroom while you're teaching, including the request to start your class with prayer. Please respect everyone's right and spaces, and do not ask someone to be put in a position of discomfort. And the reality is, we're all here to talk about balloons. So let's keep it to balloons. If there's an emergency, there will be a security member close to the door. You can have them radio for assistance. If a medical emergency takes place during a classroom, stop the class immediately and clear the room and allow the privacy and make space for EMT or whatever needs to be involved. If you have any other questions regarding classroom contact me. All right, now we get to the foundational class. That's deemed as a newbie content. The classes are aimed for people who are new to the world of decor. Please keep in mind when they're planning the classes. General class students cannot opt to enroll in foundational classes, or so general class students can opt to enroll in foundational classes should they wish, but will be limited the number of students per session to keep them smaller and make it more intimate. The classes should be 50-50 with lecture and hands-on. If you're teaching a foundational class, you should have 5 general knowledge questions pertaining to the content prior to the convention. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the questions to have that to put that on the test at the end. So the questions should be used as the exam portion certification process. So make sure they're mid-level difficulty. In other words, they should know them if they paid attention, but not so difficult they had to spend a night studying and missing out on the social aspects of the convention. Let's see, the DAG. All right, we're all going to be there on Wednesday, just like opening night. We'll recognize the instructors and we'll acknowledge you and we'll celebrate a great end of float. Educational sponsors of float will have tables reserved in their name for the gala. Please confirm with your sponsor as to whether or not they expect or will invite you to sit with them during the event. It's up to the sponsors, but they will have their own tables. The DAG is semi-formal. Everybody's been to the DAG, I'm sure. This year we're gonna be honoring Tommy. So everyone's asked to have something green in their outfit.
Can I jump in real quick?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Did you, I heard you talk about general class. I heard you talk about foundation. Did you talk about the master and the bonus classes? Did I miss that?
No, I've been going pretty much line by line, Steve, through our notes.
Okay. Because Amanda's shaking her head no that she didn't hear it. So I just want to double check to make sure. Basically master classes, if you're teaching a master class at Float, 'cause I know we have at least one set of master class instructors out here, that's a 4-hour class. That can be hands-on as well as lecture style. Because because people have to pay extra to take these classes, so we're not anticipating a massive turnout for those. And at some point during the middle of the class, you are expected to take a break for about 10 or 15 minutes or so people can kind of, go do what they need to do or whatever. If you're teaching a bonus class, please treat it as if it is a general class. You can demonstrate, you can lecture, but please do not encourage people to get up and get involved in the hands-on. If you can't plan on it, in other words, because you may have 5 people in there, you could have 200. We won't know until we get closer to the event.
For the
Yep, there's a part.
Hi,
Say again?
sorry. For the master class being hands-on, are they allowed to inflate during the class, or we would be expected to inflate everything ahead of time?
Yeah, no, if you're doing a hands-on portion in class, yes, absolutely. Please encourage the students to inflate.
Okay.
No, you would not be expected to prepare all that stuff. You would have to inflate for days to do a hands-on masterclass demo kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah, and especially now, keep in mind though, we will not necessarily have an unlimited amount of inflation equipment.
Yeah.
So that's something else to think about. Right now, I am very happy to share that Borisino has officially come on board. Deco Champ, of course, has inflators. Our friends at All American are providing a variety of inflators, and she's basically said we can have as many as we want. And of course, we are now starting the conversation with Premium Conwin about their equipment as well. But there's at least 1 or 2 other companies I'm also reaching out to about the possibility of getting them involved in Float. So that way we have a variety of equipment and brands to work with.
Very cool.
And by the way, on the equipment aspect, you might ask for a certain agenda, and we'll try to accommodate. But if we have a similar thing, we're going to give you something comparable in a different brand. It's just according to our inventory and how it goes. And I think the rule of thumb to just keep in mind is that nobody wants to see you inflate a bunch of balloons on stage. So hands-on, perfect. But for showing the thing,
Mhm.
have them pre-inflated, and that should be a pretty good way for you to gauge your what you do on stage. Is that fair?
Perfect.
The one question I was gonna ask before is about the designer workout. We are teaching a master class. Are we also required to attend? Because I see on your notes it said all instructors are required to be there, but master class instructors also required to attend.
The luncheon?
Wednesday.
Okay, well, okay, let me be very clear. Masterclass instructors are not under the same requirements.
Got it.
And that is something, and that's not JD's fault. This is something that that did not come up previously. The masterclass instructors, technically speaking, once the class is done and they could technically, after opening night, can
Mhm.
Right.
technically leave at that point. Obviously we would like to have you stay through because people want the opportunity to visit with you and everything else. But because the compensation levels are different for masterclass instructors versus full instructors at Float, yeah, you're not required to stay the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll deal with that off call.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sure.
You don't want to miss the DAG.
I know.
All right. We have some perks for you as teachers. So faculty members shall receive 50% off the price of individual master and bonus classes at Float. If you wish to take one of the added value classes, please connect with Mr. Stephen Jones. He can get you a coupon code when you register. This doesn't apply for the flotation pass. Faculty will be allowed to pre-register for the general classes they would like to take, like attend on Thursday. which is 24 hours ahead of the general attendees coming to float. Also, faculty are welcome to take part in the VIP early access to the vendor showcase on Saturday, the 25th from 9 to 10:59 a.m. Faculty do not have access to the learner lunch sessions unless you're a flotation pass holder. Let's see, general codes of conduct. Well, I really do want you to have fun time at float. When you're not on the clock, we want you to act in a professional manner. Cannabis is legal in Utah, or in Nevada, not in Utah. Cannabis is legal in Nevada. If you plan on heavy consumption of cannabis or alcohol, we'd really prefer you either do it off the campus or in your hotel room. At no time should it be in a position of intoxication while in front of the general attendees that float. We, as a staff, we are the face of float. And so we ask that you just represent that at all times. Float will not condone any type of violence, regardless of who instigates it. Should you find yourself in a situation where you feel threatened, subject to aggression, we ask that you remove yourself from the situation, contact float security or hotel security if float security is not available. Please report the incident to your sponsor and to the float your first opportunity. And you can, that includes me if you want to report to me. We understand that people are going to interact socially with others at float, and this can lead to some physical encounters and interactions. However, this does not give you the right to put someone in a position where they're made to feel uncomfortable or feel subjected to unwanted attention. Understand that no means no, and that you will be held accountable for any inappropriate behavior or interactions that may be lodged against you should you cross the line. And I just say that there have been instructors in the past who are not invited back to float because they crossed the line, and we can't have that. All right. Let's see. Notes. So you are all emailed this. So I'm going to go over this quickly because you have in your email. If you do a search in your email for Steve Jones, you should find it pretty quickly. But if you are a general and a foundational class instructor,
let me jump in. It may not come. People search for me and it doesn't come up. Try floatconvention.com or search for Float Home Office.
Beautiful. Thank you, Steve.
If your sponsors have waivers or anything like that, or is that like?
Yeah, we're actually going to be having a waiver. You'll get it, and we're gonna. I think as far as the code of conduct, that's what you're referring to. You'll be sent one, and you'll need to sign it and get it back to us.
Yeah, we're gonna be addressing that very, very shortly. We want to make sure the wording and everything is on it correct, and it will be contingent. Every instructor will have to sign it and return it before they can be allowed to move forward at this point. Again, the bottom line is that we've worked way too hard to make this event where it is, and I can't have a teacher imposing themselves on someone else. I can't have somebody showing up to a class drunk. I can't have people acting unprofessionally and poorly. I will say that and after my own experience in Australia, I cannot express enough the significance of investigating the price of a international medical insurance package while you're out of town.
Completely agree. As an Australian coming to the States, I've also had the same experience, and it would have been a $50,000 situation had I not had the insurance that I did. I ended up in hospital with vertigo in Denver at a WBC, and the bill was $50,000.
Yeah. And that, JD,
yeah,
that's related to hydration.
I was just gonna say that's a perfect segue to. It's really important while you're in, because it's a higher elevation. It's not quite as high as Denver,
You don't have to
Okay.
worry. I take precautions these days. It's okay.
But this is for everybody. It's actually one of the things I wanted to say is it is important to stay hydrated. That's going to be a very important thing, and something we're going to be really concerned about, making sure everybody stays hydrated while they're there because of the elevation. Let's shift gears back to float notes. So there's a deadline for you for if your general foundation, November 3rd. If your master bonus class is December 1st. And these dates are important because when you send them to us, we've got to put them together, and then we've got to send them to the printer. They've got to print them, then they got to send them back to us. There's a whole huge process that takes time for the float notes. What happens if you miss your float notes? Then your sponsor is going to be stuck with a bill to get everything printed out and to hand out float notes or hand out the notes when people get to class. We had that happen with a sponsor last float, and they paid about $1,400 to have all their stuff printed out. So please don't do that. Now, your sponsor may require that they want to review your notes before submitting them. So make sure you confirm with your sponsor if they want you to edit, they will see your notes before you send them to us. Okay. Let's look before we get into the specifics. Steve, Steve, do you send this to everybody, correct? The examples?
Yes, I did.
All right, so let's look. Here's some examples of some really great notes from previous floats. And what you'll find is there's different styles for everybody. So this is from the Mahoney's. We've got, oh, look, you got the Lumens.
I know those people.
No, it's funny. Scroll back to their picture again. You know, why does she look like she's like, I know what you're doing?
That's what she looks at me at work.
But Steve actually picked your notes as one of the really just example of great notes.
Oh, yeah.
Now here's a totally different example. If any of you guys remember Leah Beck, she did almost like a live comic book for her notes.
Nobody is expected to do this. Let's be very clear. Unless you want to do it, nobody's expected to do that.
Sure, but this is just some examples. A picture, and then examples, picture, and then examples, and then maybe the ingredients. Here's another one: pictures, and then instructions, pictures, instructions. He even put the QR codes.
Well, the QR codes there are very significant because what it is rather than take up time in the notes to explain a technique, the QR code takes you to a video link where he shows you the technique without speaking. So it's not, you don't have to worry about it being translated. It was a very clever idea that Edward did.
That's so smart.
So those are examples of great notes. Let's talk about really what's needed. Notes must be a minimum of 3 pages and a maximum of 10. A page is set standard is 8.5 by 11. And then for anybody that's foreign, we have millimeter sizes. Prefer them in vertical format based on 11-inch high rather than having to turn the page sideways. We will not accept your PowerPoint or keynote presentation as class notes. Class notes need to be specifically created for educational support both during and after the event. If you're teaching a recipe focused course, you need to make certain there's at least one complete recipe from your teachings for class notes. Everything's going to be in color. Use realistic font sizes. That makes sense. everything is somewhere on here. Everything needs to be in a PDF. This is going to go, everything goes to Steve. Steve uses a Mac. If you have it in any other thing than a PDF, it's not going to work. And it's going to create a really big cluster on Steve's end. And he'll curse your name in his sleep. Don't put a cover page on your notes.
I won't be sleeping while I'm cursing. I'll be awake.
And don't number your class, your pages. And the reason is because you don't know what order they're going to go in the float book. So the float notes, it'll be ordered in the book specifically and not according to your notes. Does that make sense? You are allowed to use a limited amount of sponsored generated content in your notes. These might be in extra forms of pre-existing recipes produced by a sponsor. However, once again, it cannot be a part of your minimum 3-page original content. So don't use your sponsor stuff as part of your content. If you're offering a bilingual class at Float, we ask that you provide a set of notes in both English and Spanish for each topic you're presenting. Unless you're able to combine both languages. What Edward did, he did a great job of putting English and Spanish in the same notes. Once you submit your notes, stay consistent with your class presentation. In other words, don't just send us notes for some random class you taught to meet the deadline, and then when a class comes, you teach something else. The biggest thing to remember about your classes at Float: people review the notes to confirm whether or not they want to take your class upon arrival at the convention. You want your notes to be a solid representation of you as an instructor, as a face of your sponsor, and your talent as a working professional. You want your notes to be a solid source of reference for your students to use after the convention has ended, as most artists keep the books throughout their careers. Any questions on notes?
Can I jump in real quick with something?
Sure.
All right. So one thing that did get missed real quick, and this is kind of a big thing for me, please no fill in the blank or worksheets. You can have a page or two in there, but it can't be part of your original 3 pages, your foundational 3. We've had teachers that are like, yeah, but I want people to pay attention to what I'm saying. Well, that's great, but you can't give somebody 10 pages of fill in the blank sheets, because that's no notes. There's nothing there for anyone who can't take your class to review or look at later. The other thing I kind of want to point out, or kind of reemphasize what JD had said. The reason why the deadline for these notes is so incredibly important, I want to put this in a way that everybody can relate to. This book has to be constructed in sequence. Normally we go alphabetical. So the name of the classes that begin with an A will go first, then B, then C, and so on. If I get to E and everything you need to know about blah, blah, blah is not there, I can't go forward with the rest of the book, because I don't know how many pages are coming. I don't know anything else. And even when people in the past have said, oh, well, you don't have to worry, it's 5 pages. Then I get the notes and it's 8. And now suddenly I have to go back and fix everything again. So that's why this is so incredibly important to meet these deadlines, so that I have adequate time to get this notebook assembled and off to the printer, so that we're not paying through the roof shipping rates right now, which I'm sure you all know, everything's going up. So that's the biggest thing. As far as master classes and bonus classes, I don't need those notes until December 1st, because I'll be too busy working on the general notebook before that. But again, it's the same thing. I know December gets busy for people, but I got to have those notes by December 1st. Okay. Thank you, JD.
Yep. All right, let's go over spaces. So if you are on this list right here, you are going to have your own room for your teacher prep. You'll have a 24/7 access through your sponsors. Float will not have access keys to these locations, so you will have the only access key to your room. All the teacher requested products will be transferred to the executive level and placed in the assigned workspaces by 12 on Friday. It will be your responsibility at that time to inspect and review the inventory to ensure you have everything requested. So basically, all your stuff will be in your room, and you need to make sure that you've got everything there when you arrive. Because once you take possession of the key and that's your room and that's your space, you'll be responsible for it. The current plan is for each workspace to have dedicated inflation equipment assigned to those spaces from 12, basically from Friday to Wednesday. Additional equipment may be checked out as needed, but you'll be limited to the quantities for that length of time, usually like a 24-hour usage. Instructors do have the right to share workspaces if they wished with other instructors, but your sponsor is going to have the final say over this usage of the space. So some of the instructors, like Mary, she's going to have her own room. Some of these instructors, like Jamar and Tough Tex, they're going to have several instructors in one room. All right, this one is super important, and I want to make sure we stress it. Outside food and beverages are not allowed. This says on the executive level, but really they're not allowed at any part of the actual convention space. Even if you go out and get a pizza that's in the space, you can't take it back into the convention space. So this is important that you can't have it in your rooms, outside food or drink. If you have your own cup and you have something in your own cup, that will be okay. If you walk out and get a Starbucks cup and walk in with a Starbucks cup, you could be fined. And your sponsor will absorb the cost of any fines assessed by the hotel violations of this policy. So private workspaces is intended for use for classroom prep, event prep, and private consultations between sponsors and clients. Workspaces are not intended for off-hour parties and functions, not a part of the float activity calendar. So basically, if you have your own room, that's not for you to have an outside party in. Private workspaces must be cleared out no later than 12 on Thursday. Occupants are responsible for the cleanup of the individual spaces, which includes removal of any excess trash or garbage and returning your equipment to the ILW office. As far as if you're not on this list at the top right here, we have different spaces for you to prep. I'm really not going to get into it right now. We'll show your spaces when we get to when we're at float. Because if I tell you you're at the Crystal or Nevada, it's probably not going to mean much to you right now. The only thing I will say about this is that, so the collector teachers prep spaces are for the benefit of any and all instructors who need to use them. And please think of others as well as yourself as you use either space during float. Please contact one of the crew of ILW if you need assistance with storage or prep pieces. The prep rooms have to serve as workspaces first, and inflated balloon storage only if there's enough room to do so. Teachers are not allowed to establish a reserved permanent workstation in the general prep room. No one should be expected to have a dedicated come and go workspace inside the collector teacher prep rooms during the course of the convention. So we're just trying to we're a team, and we got to work together as a team. Unlike the private workstations, no inflation equipment will be permanently assigned to either of the public prep stations. If an instructor needs an inflation equipment in order to prep their class or decor, you'll need to check it out from the ILW. Now, if you need it during your class, there'll be a place to put it on your class sheet, and you'll have it in your class. This is for your prep work. If you need it for your prep work, you'll have to come to ILW and check it out. Balloon products balloon products and supplies requested by instructors without dedicated workspaces. I went through that already. All right. Again, no outside food or beverages. Teacher prep spaces are intended for use of classroom events prep only. Please limit the amount of non-faculty, crew, and sponsor attendees in that space. Instructors are to clean up around their areas as soon as they're done with their prep. If you don't do that in the future, may limit you to teaching opportunities at float events. The convention space is smoke-free, vape-free. If you need to vape or smoke, you need to go outside or into a designated casino space and do your thing. Steve, if you could just talk about the escalator, elevator portion for the people that are going to be up in the top.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so one of the great things this year by moving to this larger space is we have a lot more space. When we opened up the sponsor opportunities to sponsor educators, we promoted it with the first 10 companies that sign up teachers, get their own exclusive workspace, and that's what that's all about. So if you're wondering why don't I get one, that's why, because it went to the first 10 sponsors who booked teachers at the convention. However, there is one challenge to these spaces, and that is that it is on the third level. So we have the spa level. If you guys looked at the schedule and the floor plan, the spa level is the first floor of the hotel, the casino level is the second level, and the executive level is on the third level. However, the executive level is also in the hotel tower. Now, the good news is the hotel tower is just on the outside of the convention space. So it's not like you've got to go clear across the damn building to get there. However, it is not directly within a stone's throw of the event space. So if you're going to be working upstairs, which we of course encourage you to do so because that's what the spaces are for, you're going to find yourself in a situation where I've got to get my stuff downstairs. So there are going to be two ways in which you can do that. The first of which, if you look at the map that JD's got pulled up here in the bottom right corner of the map, you'll see escalator to lobby. So if the items that you have can be transported on an open air escalator, you are welcome to do that. Now there is one spot where the ceiling gets a little narrow, but it's not impossible to work around. So if you're okay with that and it's not dangerous and it's something, if you're just carrying bags of balloons down, then you're probably just fine. If not, if you need to use an elevator, you cannot under any circumstances take the guest elevators. Okay? Because first of all, if you're trying to do this in the morning, you're wasting your time. Because if you've ever stayed at a hotel, you know that if you're on the top floor, it's easy to get an escalator going down. But if you're near the bottom, every time that door opens, it's full of people. And the hotel has made it clear that they do not want anyone filling up an elevator with balloons and equipment and stuff. But you'll also notice that on the map, there are service elevators. The service elevators are right next to Sierra 1 with the anagram logo, just to the right. However, there is a new challenge at this hotel that we've never had before. This hotel is directly connected with a casino. Because of licensing and everything else, at no time is anyone from Float allowed in any back service hallway without a security escort. That goes for me, that goes for JD, that goes for anybody in the Float contingency. In the past, I know we've all been able, everyone's, oh, don't get mad at me, and you jump in a back hallway and cut a corner or whatever. We can't do that anymore, not here. We will be scheduling 3 times a day, more than likely about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Once again, probably around noon, and then again at 2. We will arrange for hotel security to be at the service elevators. So if you need to get stuff downstairs to your classes, we'll have someone there that can escort, that could basically run the elevator and run everybody downstairs and get that taken care of. If you need something in between that, you're going to have to either use the escalator or you're going to have to talk to your sponsor about arranging a security guard to take you down. we highly recommend that you plan ahead and use the scheduled times. Now, here's the great news. If you're working in the two, JD, can you pull the other map up? Can you scroll up, show the other map? There we go. Okay. Keep going. There we go. Okay, now center it. If you'll notice on the map there, if you look at the casino level, the teacher prep room is Crystal 3. Okay. And then on the spa level, it's Nevada 3. So if you're teaching in Carson 1 or 3, or if you're teaching in Crystal 1 or 4, the closest teacher prep room for you to use is going to be the teacher prep on the casino level, which is Crystal 3. If you're teaching downstairs on the spa level, then your best bet is going to be the teacher prep space in Nevada 3. Okay. Now the storage space that's marked on the spa level, that is actually for the ILW, because the hotel doesn't want us, again, we're not allowed to bring stuff up and down the regular passenger elevators, and we don't want to deal with the other stuff. So we're stockpiling some helium tanks, base plates, things like that downstairs, so that we don't have to,
Really bad.
so we don't have to try to get on an elevator and address that. Then there is one other thing I'd like to point out, since JD has this map open. You will notice just above, on the spa level map, you'll notice just above Nevada 4, there is a little mark there that says Float HR. Float has an HR department this year. In the event at any time, if you feel that you need to express a complaint or anything of that nature about the event, about someone at the event, you just want to bitch about me for 20 minutes, you schedule a time with, you go to the registration desk and ask to speak with the HR director, and then you would schedule a time. And that space is a private space where you guys can meet and chat and talk about things without people overhearing you and talking and everything else. I want everyone at this event, everyone on the staff, regardless if they're crew, teaching, what have you, I want all of you to know that you all have that privilege to take advantage of should you feel you need to. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. Lastly, and I'll go ahead and stop the screen share. Lastly, no aerosol spray shine. If you remember last float, we had the whole hallway and people were, it was not good. So if you have to do an aerosol spray shine, you need to do it outside. And lastly, if size restrictions, if you need more than a, most of the rooms have high ceilings, but if you need more than a 10-foot ceiling space, please let us know.
We can't, there's nothing we can do about it at this point. Schedule set.
Right, well,
So can you pull the map up again, the casino map, or the casino level map?
Yep.
Okay, so those of you that are teaching in Carson 1 and 3, your ceiling height is 20 feet. Those of you that are teaching in Crystal 1 or Crystal 4, the ceiling height is 14 feet. Now, yeah, scroll up a little bit for me there. There you go. Now, the Nevada foyer, or the Nevada room in general, is a hot mess. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There's like, the whole space has different levels of ceiling height. Nevada 6 and 7, for example, and the Nevada foyer is like 9 feet, 10 feet tops. And then it goes to like 11 or 12, then it goes to 14. The reason we scheduled people where we did has a lot to do with, for example, people that are teaching mostly business classes don't need a ceiling height. So that's one of the reasons why you were put in a specific room. Also, well, neither one's on the call, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. Yeah, and in the executive level, hold on, I didn't even think about the executive level. Let me, ceiling heights in the executive level are all 10 feet. And then I'm sorry, which Nevada was it I was looking for? Was it Nevada 1?
Yes, Nevada 1.
13 and a half. So Nevada 1 through 6 and Nevada 9 is 13.5. Nevada 7 is 11 feet. And Nevada foyer is 8. That's why the lunches and stuff are in there, because you can't do much with it.
Who has questions?
Do you have what the class size is per room? How many people fit?
I do actually. I have some ballpark figures for you. Yeah, bear with JD. Can you bring up do you mind bringing up the casino and spa level thing again?
Sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I do actually have those for you. The projections. It's better to visually do it. All right, Carson 1 and Carson 2 are 200 people. Crystal 1 and Crystal 4, if I'm not mistaken, are 150. Nevada 1 and Nevada 4 are 150. Nevada 6 and Nevada 7 and Nevada 8 are roughly 90 people. Nevada 9 and 10 is roughly 150. It might be a little bit less. All the classrooms will be set theater style to maximize the number of people we can put in the rooms. Now, the exception to this, obviously, like I said, is going to be the foundation classes, the people that are teaching foundation classes. And JD didn't talk about this because it's not in his notes that I didn't give him. The foundation program right now is, we're capping it at 100 people. However, as of right now, there are 6 people signed up for the foundation classes. Now, again, I believe in all sincerity that the number one reason why the foundation level is underrepresented at this point is because the price point to sign up for the foundation level and the price point for the conventions were very close. And people were like, well, why would I take these and just take 10 classes when I can pay 50 more bucks or 100 more bucks and get all the classes? And I said, because you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're going to piss everybody off in the classrooms. But of course, that fell on deaf ears. And so they signed up anyway. So there was probably 15, 20 people that would have signed up for foundation. And of course, the very next question out of their mouths is, but I can still take the certification, right? No, if you're not in the foundation, no, you can't take the test. So that's how that's working. So if we end up with fewer than 40 people in the foundation program, then what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate one of your duplicated foundation classes. And we're just going to put everybody in the same class series. So all the foundation people would have the exact same schedule and they would just go from room to room to room. So instead of divvying them up, where you'd have 20 and 20, we would just put all 40 in the same class and then 40 in the same class and then 40 in the same class. And you wouldn't be affected. You'd still be doing the same job. Now, the one thing that I also want to kind of share about with the foundation classes, the questions that JD mentioned earlier. Noelle, this is you. Zoe, this is you. I'm sorry, is it Zoe or Zoe? I think you said 2 syllables.
Yeah, Zoe. But
that's what I thought.
answered
Okay.
Zoe.
I'm so sorry. I know people like to hear their name correct. Lily, same thing. The question's kind of a thing. We want them to be somewhere in the middle of the road. They can't be like, okay, now where would you find the nozzle on a balloon? Okay, we don't need that. But we also don't want them to be so, as JD did mention, we don't want them to be so incredibly anal retentive that these poor people have to spend half the night studying to get the answers right. So that's kind of what we're doing. And what's going to happen is they're going to take a written exam on Wednesday afternoon. As long as they pass the exam with a 70% or higher, then they qualify. And then they get the certification. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
And then, of course, too, you guys, during class, you'll be showing them. And at some point, what we would ultimately like you to do is have them all demonstrate they understand the knowledge that you have presented to them somehow through your hands-on stuff. And those of you, of course, like Lily, for example, that are just teaching business classes, then obviously you don't need to, there's no hands-on because you're teaching business. So there's three instructors teaching foundation business. There's Lily, Brianna, and Jill. Everybody else is teaching physical hands-on stuff. Like Noelle, you would show them how to inflate, you know, and high float a balloon kind of thing, right? And then they would demonstrate that. And as long as they demonstrate it, then we could, you know, that portion of it would be fine. Plus whatever else you're teaching, you know, that kind of a thing. But there has to be some essential foundational level that they need to understand and show and demonstrate that they understand. Does that make sense?
It does.
Hi, I do have a question. So we have Eduardo teaching a class. My question is, I don't know if I missed something here. So is he general instructor
Yes.
or?
Yes,
Okay.
he is. And again, this is something that we didn't talk about because I didn't share it with JD or I didn't, you know, we didn't talk about ahead of time, so it's not his fault. Eduardo is a great example of an individual that is far more comfortable speaking in Spanish than English. He is not expected to teach his classes in English. And as a sponsor, you are not expected to have a translator for him. Over the years, we have tried to accommodate people as best as possible. We've had Spanish speaking teachers, and then we've had a translator. And I can't win either way, because what ends up happening is people complain either the quality of the translator, or they complain about how it slowed everything down and they feel like they didn't get any information in class because they had to go over everything twice. So we have made the executive decision last year, or in 2024, excuse me, that from this point forward, if an instructor is far more comfortable only speaking in Spanish, like Eduardo, like Andrea, right? If that's the case, then we are not expecting them to try to accommodate an English-speaking audience. They are more than welcome to speak in Spanish. People know this going into the class. So they don't get to go out there and then walk back and complain at me. Why didn't you tell me that? Dude, the class name is in Spanish. How much more do I have to spell it out for you? And if you read the convention guide, you would know it was taught in Spanish. So we're trying, again, this is all about representation and making people as comfortable as possible while they're teaching. This is one of the reasons why we ask specifically also certain people, if you are comfortable teaching in both English and Spanish, then we would love it if you could do one session in English and one session in Spanish. But we also let the instructor make that decision because we didn't want them to feel pressured if they're not comfortable doing it that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, completely. Now, if we want, or can we actually take a translator? Is that possible, or it's just no?
Okay, if you're gonna, here's what I will say. Okay, if you're going to do a translator, then we should schedule the translator only for one of the class sessions. And I will need to know which session that is so we can mark it on the calendar.
Okay.
On the schedule, because there will be lots of people that will be like, oh, that's great. And that's the class they'll want to take. And then they can't complain when it's, you know, slightly slower.
Yes.
At the same time, we don't want a Spanish speaking instructor or a Spanish speaking attendee to not choose the right class for them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So if you do want to go to that expense, yes, by all means, you can do that.
Okay, perfect.
You just need to know, we'll just need to know which session that's going to take place in.
Okay, we will be speaking with Eduardo about that. Now we do have another question. Well, actually, Eduardo has another question. So the question is, he is teaching a technique. Well, in his class, it's the technique, which he would like to show the technique in class, meaning he would have to inflate in class. Is he allowed to, or is he not allowed to?
You are allowed to inflate for the purpose of demonstration.
Okay.
Because again, you know, it's silly to say, like, for example, if you're teaching a distortion technique, you have to inflate something, right? Because you have to demonstrate the technique. What JD was talking about earlier, and I'll use myself as an example because I was guilty of this. In 2010, I taught a master class at Float, or 2013, I'm sorry. I taught a master class at Float. And because I was so busy running around with everything else I was doing, I didn't have any time to prep anything. So half the time in my class was spent blowing up balloons because I didn't get a chance to prep anything. And people came up to me after class and said, Stephen, we love you. Don't ever freaking do that to us again. Because no one wants to pay money to sit there and watch a teacher blow up balloons. So again, a couple of quads here and there is fine if you're trying to do something to demonstrate a technique.
Okay.
But
Okay,
if
those
you're
are-
talking about volume stuff, that should all be done ahead of time. We have ample space, we've got ample time. That's when it should be done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
As long as that's I think that's pretty clear. So we should
Yes,
be good.
thank you.
Okay, sure.
Can I have a coffee machine at my booth, Steve? Or no?
Well, I mean, if you hire it through the hotel, yes.
So those are the only ones.
And I will honestly, I can tell you from my own research, that will cost $150 per gallon.
So there'll be no coffee in the vendor showcase entrance or showcase at all then? 'Cause nobody's gonna pay
Well,
out.
no, actually, the truth of the matter is I am ordering coffee for the morning of Sunday for the vendors that morning. But it's not for general consumption for everybody. But the nice thing is I did negotiate a free coffee station for us one day during the event. So the hotel is going to provide us with a free coffee station. Yay.
I'm already
And-
shaking.
And if you bring your own mug and make coffee and put it in your own mug, that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Well, if the coffee's being served in the convention space by the hotel, then it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. It's the other way around. In other words, so like for example, Adam, if you're saying, well, can I just buy an espresso machine and have it in my booth? No. Unfortunately, the answer is no.
Are you sure? I was gonna give you an espresso machine at the end of float if you let me
Well,
have one.
you know, I would love that, but the truth is I'm actually just a regular old drip guy. But no, as much as I would love to, we're just not allowed to do it.
So then definitely no kegs then. Okay, got it.
Yeah, definitely not that.
Any other questions? All right, so the goal is at December 1st, I will be taking over completely for Steve. So that's why I put my number at the beginning. All the questions go through me. I'll be the guy that makes sure
After I get all the notes, you're taking over.
Right, there you go. There you go. And so that's why I gave you my number. That's why I've reached out to most of you on Facebook and then done friend requests. If I haven't sent you a friend request on Facebook, Jonathan, JD, Daniel, that's how I look on Facebook. I just put in the chat. And more than likely, we have several friends in common. So that's a good way to find me. And that's it. Want to say thank you guys for your time.
I would like to jump in one last thing, if I may.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. All of you on this call, all of you here, you have my deepest respect and admiration. This event would be nothing without your talents, without your generosity, without your kindness, without your knowledge. You guys are the reason people are coming to this event. The number one reason people choose to come to Float is because of the quality of classes that we offer. This has been a consistent survey result every year. And the fact that your sponsors have enough faith in you to be that representation for them is a tremendous compliment to you. Thank you all for taking time out of your lives to be part of this event. It means a tremendous amount to me, and I am so excited. I'm fans of so many of your work. I'm very excited to have you joining us at Float in Reno, and I can't wait for you to get there. I just wish it wasn't 100 days tomorrow, but you know, that's on me. So, thank you.
Can't hear you, Zoe. You're muted.
Thank you, Steve. You're wonderful. And this would not happen without you.
Zoe, you're muted. There you go.
There you go. I just want to say thank you in return. It's very kind and generous of you to say so. And I think we all feel as privileged to be a part of it as you do for us to be involved. So I think, yeah, that's very much appreciated.
Appreciate that. Like I said, this event has become the single biggest event of its kind in the world. And it started out as the most scraptacular thing ever imagined. So again, without you guys, we'd still be scrambling, trying to beg people to come. So thank you. Thank you all. And huge round of applause to JD. JD is a tremendous advocate for you guys during the event. And he works his butt off to make sure that everybody has the best possible experience they can have.
There's
You
a
really-
possibility that last year I may have thought you guys were the same person.
That's okay. That's all right. He's better looking than I am, so I'll take that as a compliment. I feel bad for him, but yeah, it's fine.
I mean, Steven, honestly, yeah, you're great, but JD was absolutely amazing to us last year. I have nothing but great things to say about him. He is the absolute best.
I could not agree more.
I appreciate
Not
that.
agree. Could not agree more.
All right.
100 days and counting.
All right. Steve, we good?
We're good.
We're good.
Thank you all very much.
Talk to you soon.